Hello my animal folk allies, today we're going to be discussing the 4 face commanders for the precons that are coming out with Bloomburrow. I'm super excited, and if you're not already hyped for this set, then well, you're probably just an animal hater, and we can't be friends, and this video is not going to change your mind. But if you're excited to explore this anthropomorphic plane with me, then what better way to do it than with these 4 commander decks? But which one do you buy? Well, thanks to this video, I'm hoping that you will have a better idea after this. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, so the first card we're going to be looking at is Bello, Bard of the Brambles. This is a free cost creature, 1 colorless, 1 green, 1 red. During your turn, each non-equipment artifact and non-aura enchantment you control with mana value 4 or greater is a 4/4 elemental creature in addition to its other types, and has indestructible, haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. So first of all, let's get straight into the art. So what do we see here? We see Bello. Bello is a raccoon. He's a bard but doesn't have an instrument. But what we see around Bard is Bello, sorry, his name's not Bard, his name is Bello. What we see around Bello is loads of branches that seem to be wielding weapons. So what he's doing, and in his other hand you can see he's like casting some green magic. So what we can assume he's doing is animating, hence the name of the deck, animating the forest around him to make them wield weapons, and then obviously he's using that to his advantage in combat. Now this is very, very flavorful because from the card we know that he's turning artifacts and enchantments, as in non-living creatures, into living weapons. So 10 out of 10 on flavor. So from this card, we know that this is going to be a very aggressive deck. Typical green-red Gruul strategy of just running down your opponent and smashing face. He's a free cost card, so he's a cheap commander, and this is also relevant because he works with cards that are 4 or greater. So if he costs 4 himself, you would have essentially a 1-turn delay because you have to wait for the next turn to start playing stuff and using his ability. But because he's a free cost, you slap him down on turn 3, and then by turn 4 or 4 mana, you are available to just slap down that artifact or enchantment and go straight for face because they have haste, they have indestructible, so you don't have to worry about them getting destroyed. So you're putting the pressure on them early, and then the draw power is I can't speak. The draw power is allowing you to keep tempo and keep doing this. So yeah, I'm super excited about Bello. I love the idea of building decks that don't just evolve around creatures and that you're actually making use of artifacts and enchantments. So that's really cool. And he's also a respectable free, so you know, that's pretty cool as well. So if animating your artifacts and enchantments and smashing opponents' faces and drawing cards sounds good to you, then the animated army is the precon for you. So the next card we're going to be talking about is Hazel of the Rootbloom, a 2 colorless, 1 black and 1 green legendary creature squirrel druid. So what does Hazel do? You can tap Hazel, pay 2 life, tap X untapped tokens you control, add X mana in any combination of colors. That sounds quite confusing, right? I know, but don't worry, I'm going to break it down for you. Next ability. At the beginning of your end step, create a token that's a copy of target token you control. If that token is a squirrel, instead create 2 tokens that are copies of it. Okay, so let's break this down. So that first ability, it sounds a bit confusing, but it's actually not that bad, okay? Essentially, all it's doing is you tap itself, and what it does, once you do that, you are allowing your tokens to be able to tap for mana, essentially turning them into mana dorks. And if you don't know what that means, it means when you tap a creature and you get a mana added to your pool. So you're sort of treating it kind of like a land in a way. So it's turning your tokens into mana sources. So the more tokens you have, the more mana you're going to have, and you're going to be able to play bigger, scarier stuff quicker. And then the second ability is that you are copying those tokens. You're not creating tokens, okay? So don't get that confused. So if you don't already have a token, Hazel's not going to do nothing for you because she's not going to be able to create, I'm assuming she's a she. She's not going to be able to create a token. So you need to find a way to create a token first. Now we can assume that this deck is going to have plenty of ways to do that. So once you've got that token, you will copy the token at the end of every end step. Now if that token is a squirrel, and again we can assume this deck is going to be full of cards that make squirrel tokens. So if you copy a squirrel token, you're going to get 2 copies. So now suddenly, if you have a squirrel token, you end your turn, you've now got 3 squirrel tokens, and next turn you're going to be able to tap those squirrel tokens for mana. Flavor text, may all your caches be full. So from a flavor standpoint, she's filling your caches with mana, I guess. We didn't talk about the art of this card, completely skipped past that. Hazel, she's got a really fancy outfit going on here, almost like a shaman vibe going on. looking a bit colty, actually, because she's on a podium. She's holding a giant turnip. I'm not sure what the relevance of the turnip is, but I'm here for it. And in the other hand, she has a nice big stick with some, looks like tulips, but again, I don't really know my plants. It's got little purple flowers on it. And then beneath the podium, you can see all these squirrels and mice looking up at Hazel like she's almost like a god or something. They're looking to her for some guidance. She's also a 3/5, which is respectable. She's going to be very hard to kill, and she's dealing out some fairly decent damage as well. All in all, Hazel seems very cool, and if you want to command a nice big army of ravenous squirrels and then using those squirrels to make even bigger, scarier things, then the Squirreled Away Precon is the deck for you. Okay, the next card we're going to be talking about is Miss Bumbleflower, a 1 colorless, 1 green, 1 white, 1 blue. So this is a 3-color commander. So this is one of our first 3-color commander decks. I say first, one of 2, I should say, because the other one is also 3 colors, and the others are 2 colors. So Miss Bumbleflower, legendary creature, rabbit citizen, excuse me. Miss Bumbleflower has vigilance, so she doesn't tap when she attacks. Whenever you cast a spell, target opponent draws a card, put a 1/1 counter on target creature, and it gains flying until the end of the turn. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, you draw 2 cards. Now, I know what you're thinking. What? This card helps my opponent. Why the hell would I want this? Well, that's the whole idea behind this deck. It is a group hug deck. So essentially, you are spreading the love, okay? You are giving your opponents gifts, and in doing so, hoping that they are not going to be too hasty to take you out the game. Meanwhile, you are slowly and silently building up the board, letting the others fight each other, and then once it's prime time, you will unleash your attack and take the dub. So, let's get into the artwork of the Miss Bumbleflower. She's clearly quite a bit of a hippie. I mean, she's got it all going on. She's got the little flowery hats going around her ears. She's got like a poncho on. She's holding a tray of baked goods, and I'm assuming there's something special in these baked goods because she's making people fly. Yeah, the card itself, it's cool. So whenever you cast the spell, people are drawing cards. Now, the best thing you want to do is spread the love, okay? Going with the hippie vibe, because if you keep choosing the same opponent, then you are effectively helping them more than it's helping you, because this card actually allows you to draw 2 cards once you've cast 2 spells, and I'm going to assume in this deck that's going to be quite easy to do. So essentially, you want to be giving out the gifts, but you also want to be benefiting more than your opponents, otherwise there's not going to be much point, okay? You're just helping other people win the game. You are drawing 2 cards, your opponent is drawing 1 card, so you're keeping ahead of them while keeping them sweet as well. You could also use the 1/1 counter and flying ability on your opponent's creatures in like diplomatic political situations where you could say, hey, I will buff your creature if you use it against this person who's pissed me off and I want them dead. So it's really interesting. It's not going to be for everyone, but it's definitely an interesting way to play the game. She's a 1/5, so she is not going to be easy to kill whatsoever. She has vigilance, so she doesn't really have to worry about attacking. She's always going to be there protecting you, and because she can give herself essentially flying, she essentially can just attack willy-nilly and not really have to worry about getting blocked unless your opponent has nasty flyers and reaches. Okay, but yeah, that's all for really Miss Bumbleflower. I think she's really, really cool, and if giving your opponents full sense of security and then waiting for your prime opportunity to beat them down with some evasive flyers granted by the access of magical cookies, then this deck is for you. Okay, the last card we are going to be talking about is Zinnia Valley's Voice, a 1 blue, 1 red, and 1 white 3-cost commander. So again, another 3-cost, nice and cheap, but this one is 3 colors, okay? Legendary creature bird bard. Now this bard does have an instrument, as you can see in the art. Zinnia has flying and gets plus X plus O, where X is the number of other creatures you control with base power 1. Creature spells you cast have offspring 2. So you can pay an additional 2 as you cast a creature spell, and if you do, when that creature enters, create a 1/1 token copy of it. This card makes babies, and offspring is one of the most exciting things about Bloomburrow, at least in my opinion anyway. And this guy gets stronger and stronger the more babies you create. I'm saying guy, I don't actually know if this is a boy or girl. It could really be either one, but I'm going to go with guy because of the hat. I don't know, there's something a little bit masculine about the hat. I feel like he's almost got like some French vibe about him. I don't know if that's relevant. I don't know. Dyed his wings. Got some, yeah, just quite an elaborate outfit in general. And he's got this little instrument here. It's, I mean, I would say guitar, but is it a guitar? I don't know. Some sort of variant of a guitar. Hybrid, ukulele, weird thing. Looks cool. He's holding it with his little feather thumbs, which is quite weird. Yeah, I know Bat has the appendages, but I don't think birds do. But hey, in Bloomburrow they do. And yeah, and he's in like a sort of wetlands area. So yeah, a little bit of a different environment that we've seen so far, which is cool. But yes, it's quite simple, really. Zinnia is going to be making lots of babies, so it's kind of like a go wide deck. You're going to be making lots and lots of tokens, which is cool if you like that kind of playstyle. And the more you do that, you're going to have at least one big flying attacker, which is Zinnia. So you're going to have like the queen or king of the babies in Zinnia, and then have your army of lots of little minions. Well, you're gonna have babies and the regular forms, okay? So it's cool. It's a nice, interesting take. I think this is gonna be a very different style of deck that we've ever seen before, which is quite cool. Not much else to say about Zinnia. If you like the idea of making a shit ton of babies, then the Family Matters Precon is the deck for you. So guys, that is it for our 4 face commanders. Let me know in the comments below, which deck are you gonna be piloting? For me, I think it's gonna be the Raccoon animated army one. And if you're interested in other Bloomburrow information, then might I suggest you check out my Everything You Need to Know About Bloomburrow video, and also my Bloomburrow MTG spoilers. And in those videos you get to see some of the other cards that we've got to look forward to. Other than that, guys, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you soon for more Bloomburrow content. Cheers.